Okay, hello again. This is now tarot lesson number 69, and I have 2 points I'd like to discuss, and then maybe a third one, but I don't know what the third one is yet. So I'd like to talk a little bit about good and bad cards, and then something about how to turn a card. This is because of emails I've had recently from a couple of people. So in some video somewhere, I don't know where, I talked about how we readers ought to be, it's better to be neutral. And this is because you can't assume that there's a certain experience that you don't like. You can't assume that the questioner is not going to like it either. And this came up because of the Tower. Oh, that's the devil. So the Tower, I think, was the person who sent me the email mentioned how she would look at the Tower and it's bad. It looks bad because the people are falling out and there's the clouds and it's a kind of disruption and upset and whatever else along those lines. But she doesn't like the fact that a lot of people will try to minimize the problems shown by the card. And the same with the devil, or the death card, I think it was, where the death card, people talk about it being transformation rather than endings, because people want to make it endings and new beginnings. But if you look at the Tower, we can't assume that other people will look at the Tower and see something bad there. And this is partly because some people like drama and like chaos in their life because it makes them feel alive. And you probably know people like that. There are drama queens or drama kings, and there's always something wrong, and there's always something upsetting, and life is a big drama, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the thing is, some people are like that. So you, the reader, if you're calm and peaceful, you can't look at this card for the Tower and assume that the questioner also inevitably and automatically doesn't like it either. And it's something to remember about people, that the reading is about the questioner, not about you, the reader. And I think it's important to remember that and be neutral or objective. So the Tower card shows a lightning flash, a sudden change, an upset, and the people falling down. And the Tower, something that has been built over a period of time, is going to be damaged in some way. And that's what you're dealing with this particular card. Then you think about the question. So it may be a relationship that's going to be struck by lightning, or it's a project that you're involved in that's not going to, I say it's not going to go well. Let's say this card is for the future. It's going to be subject to shocks that you may or may not see in advance. You probably can see them in advance because there's lightning, and you know it's lightning, and you know it's a stormy period, and there's likely to be lightning or a storm. So it's not unexpected. It's the signs are there, the clues are there in the atmosphere, in the environment that you're in with the project, let's say. So it ought not to be that much of a surprise if it falls apart. And in the same way with the Devil card, we've got the man and the woman with the short chain, or the chain around their neck, and it's short leash, so they haven't got much freedom to move or to move around. And the thing is, some people, you can look at the card and think, well, this is bad because you're not going to have much choice in the matter. But the thing to remember is, some people don't like having a choice. They don't like to have to make a decision. So they can look at the Devil and think, great, somebody's going to decide for me. I don't have to suffer the stress of making a decision. So we can't assume that the Devil is good or bad. I think we have to look at it, or it's better if we look at the card and think about the question and look at what's going on in the card and then come to a conclusion, or explain to the questioner what the card shows and what's going on and what it might point to. Because if you're an introvert and don't like people, the Four of Batons can be a terrible card. Because, oh no, I'm going to have to deal with people. I'm going to have to go out and be friendly and sociable and polite, and I'm going to have to go to a wedding, and I'm going to have to go to some kind of get-together, a group party or a work party at Christmas time, whatever it happens to be. And I hate social gatherings, and you're telling me I've got to go and be happy. You know, so it's easy to look at this card and assume that it's going to be good, but maybe it isn't for that particular individual. And the fourth card I've got here is the Eight of Pentacles, because you can think this is good because you repeat the experience over and over again, and you make it better all the time. And the person might say, do I have to do the same thing twice? Do I have to do it multiple times? It takes me all my time to do it once. Now you're telling me I've got to do it multiple times. How come this is a good card? So you might want to consider a card on its own and what it shows, or what kind of activity is going on in the card. And I wanted to just show you this about a horoscope. This is partly because I'm getting closer to having an online course or something. I think I want you to, people who take it, to download all the videos rather than have to go online to look at the videos. But in a horoscope, there are different houses. This is the first, that's the fifth, and that's the 11th. These are houses of life. So, sorry, the 9th. First, the fifth, and the 9th are houses of life. If you've got lots of planets in the first, the fifth, and the 9th, a majority of planets there, you like living. Living it, life itself is all that you want. That's where your focus is. Whereas if you've no planets in the first, the fifth, or the 9th, other areas of life are more important to you, or more interesting to you. The 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th are houses of wealth. So if you've got a majority of planets in the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th, you're interested in wealth, accumulating it, spending it, having it, dealing with it. So if somebody's got the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th, and nothing in the 1st, the 5th, and the 9th, and you want to tell them about, yes, go out and have fun, go out and enjoy life, and go travelling, and so on. It's not, they don't care, because they've got no planets in the 1st, the 5th, and the 9th. Whereas talk to this person about business, about making money, about work, about producing stuff that can be sold, and about buying and having a list of items that you want to invest in, they're going to be interested because they've got planets in the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th. The 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th are houses of association. So here, the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th are the chief interest in living or in life is other people, partnerships from the 7th, brothers and sisters and friends, but they like other people. So this person with the Four of Batons, if you've got many planets in the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th, the Four of Batons is a good card because it's about sociability and getting along with people and celebration and so on. But if you don't have planets in the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th, this can be, okay, you'll do it. You obviously you deal with people, but it's not your first choice. And then the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th are houses of psychism, which doesn't mean that you're psychic, but it means that you have an interest in the occult. And occult just means hidden. So if you got a majority of planets in the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th, then you have an interest in the occult. It doesn't mean you have ability, but you have the interest that's there. This is one of the things about astrology as well. People can have an interest in astrology, but that doesn't mean they've got any ability. And other people have great ability but no interest. And you get that from the horoscope as well. So that's to do with, if you look at a card, you can't assume that the questioner is going to see it the way you see it. And I think that's why you have to talk about what's there and then maybe talk about with the Eight of Pentacles, you talk about you do something once, you do it again and make it better. So you're explaining what's going on in the picture and then giving them a way of understanding and getting the most out of the situation that they're asking about. And then there's the old question of we've got the Tower, or let's pick another one. Let's say we've got the Five of Batons. So if some people insist that I turn cards from left this way, side to side. And I if I'm doing a reading, in a video, I might occasionally turn it from side to side. But if I'm actually doing a real spread, I always turn it from the bottom to the top. So that, as you can see, if I turn it from side to side, it's upright. If I turn it from bottom to top, it's upside down. So am I turning it the wrong way? And I think it's important to remember that what are you doing? What are you getting with a tarot spread, or when you turn a card? I mean, are you in some way connecting with the tarot, whatever the tarot might mean, and the tarot is giving you the answer? And I don't think that's what's going on, because I'm a person and so are you, and we shuffle. Somebody shuffles. You don't just, there isn't some kind of artificial intelligence that comes up with the card. It's a person who's shuffling. And so let's assume, even though I always say assume nothing, let's imagine that there's a part of you that's wise, and the wise part of you is what is talking when you do a tarot reading. And so the wise part of you knows in advance what you're meant to talk about. So if we've got, what's this top card? No, I don't want a major trump. The Two of Batons, okay? So if somebody wants to know how's a project going to go, and you, the inner part of you knows it's going to go well, you want some kind of card that indicates it's going to go well. So in your shuffling, you end up picking the Two of Batons, so that you can then talk about the project will go well, you're going to get help from people in high places, you've got a long-term view, you understand what direction you want to go in, you've figured it all out. Whereas if the inner part of you, the wise part, knows that the person is biting off more than they can handle, or more than they can chew, or trying to do things without a plan, or trying to do it instinctively without really understanding what they're doing, you want to pick a card that will allow you or enable you, the reader, to talk about, okay, you've got big ideas, but it's upside down. So have you got an actual plan? Have you contacted people to find out how they go about things? I was speaking to somebody a couple of days ago about starting a business. The person wants to start a business, and so people will tell you the first thing you do is do some research and find out, is the business going to be viable? And it may be with this Two of Batons upside down, the person wants the business, but it's not going to be viable until, or maybe what they do is with the Two of Batons upside down, you suggest that they do some market research, or send out an email to people and find out if they would be interested. And if you find that nobody's interested, then don't bother. By all means, do it if you want to. But if you are depending on a good response from the public, it's not going to happen with the Two of Batons upside down. And I think that's, so my answer to the fellow with the email had to do with, or maybe it was a comment, it had to do with, if I, the reader, know that I'm going to turn a card from the bottom to the top, then my inner self is going to set things up so that I get the right orientation, upright or reverse. If I'm talking about This way upright, yes, you're focused, but pay attention to what's going on out of sight and it'll work. Whereas here, you ought to pay attention to what's going on out of sight, but you're not noticing it, and you're going to lose because of it. Whereas if your method, your chosen method, is to go from side to side, oh, the devil, to go from side to side, then that's how you would turn the card. And the inner part of you that knows we're talking about the devil, we want the devil upright. And that's why when we turn it, it's upright. Whereas if with your inner self knows it's, you want to talk about, or it makes more sense to talk about the devil reversed, you'll turn it from side to side and get the devil reversed. So I think it depends on the reader and what your chosen method is in advance, rather than deciding that me going from the bottom to the top is in some way the wrong way because I'm changing the orientation of the card. Yes, I know, but I want to do it that way, and that's how I was taught. So I was going to do 3 things, but I don't know what else to do. So maybe what we'll do is I'll give you a break this time and a shorter video. And so I think I'll just stop suddenly. And so today, or this video goes up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be back on Saturday. So if you have comments or questions, let me know, and have a good week. Okay? Bye-bye.